live. Today I have the honor of interviewing Dumi Right, an accomplished MC. He currently has the #1 record on national college radio. We're going to bring him in and talk to him about his career, how he's been a global trailblazer. He's from Zimbabwe, Africa, and he's based in Washington, D.C. We're going to talk about how he's opened up borders, his work with Next Level, and so many other things. Let's bring him in. Peace!
Yeah.
My
What's
brother, how you
good?
doing?
Shoot, good, man. Good to see you, man. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, man. You look sharp.
Now yourself too, bro. I've been seeing your videos on here and everything, the content and the people you've been talking to, like a lot of big names, a lot of great names, a lot of interesting content, man. So appreciate what you've been doing, man.
Thank you, my brother. And you know what? We're going to add another dope episode with the one and only Dumi Right, who has the
Another
#1
chapter.
record on college radio, Life is What You Make It, with some incredible featurings. Talk to us about this record.
And I don't even know where to start with it, because all the pieces and parts of it are just so incredible, right?
Yeah.
So just imagine, right, like me coming together and thinking to myself, what would be the perfect way to pay homage, in a tribute to hip hop. And in order to do that, you got to come correct with a great song, some great
Yeah.
music. But it would be great, as I was thinking through it. This is like me in the conception phase. To add some like really great names, right? And I didn't want to just pick names out of a hat. Like, there's a lot of greats in hip hop. But who are some of the people who influenced me, that I look up to, that I'm also connected with
Yeah.
and work with? So obviously I have the capability to reach out and get them to be a part of it. So I'll never forget, man, Chubb Rock, when I was freshman in college, Virginia Tech. Shout out to the Hokies. Every dance floor, every party, Chubb Rock was, the party starter, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Treat 'em Right.
Treat 'em
Just
Right
the
was
two
the
of us,
joint.
all his bangers. Yeah. And so I always just like looked up to him as like, he's official as far as like knowing how to rock a party and make a
Yeah.
great track. So it was a blessing some years ago, probably a decade ago, that we connected, and he blessed me, blessed the joint that I did,
Yeah.
and we've just stayed connected since. So this will be like the third joint that
Yeah.
he was on. And I credit him honestly for like the vision of where the song went.
Wow.
Like I had an idea in my mind of paying tribute, and I just wanted him to rock the hook,
Yeah.
because he's a busy man. He's always on tour, and like I said, he's blessed me twice before, and I knew he was busy. But not only did he rock the hook, and added and adapted it or whatever, he also was like, "Yo, I did a verse too, so let me know if that's good." And I'm,
Yeah,
come on, man, you can't go wrong.
let me think. Do
Can't
I
go
get the
wrong.
legend on the song? Yeah.
So, that's a no-brainer. And then I've been close and worked with YZ for a while too. He actually, fun fact, a lot of people may not know, when I came out of Zimbabwe legit in the early
Yeah.
90s, we'd actually talked to him about management. And the only reason why we never did that, he had moved to Atlanta. I was in school and trying to finish that up, but we had stayed connected and stuff. And he's like a really good brother, real cool. And so I told him about the song, and he's like, "Yo, I want in. I want to be a part of it." And so I was like,
And I
"Oh, this
feel
is gonna
that
be
he's
beautiful."
so important. YZ is one of my favorite MCs. And some of his music's not on streaming. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And he's got, I had to actually hunt down his album Second to Nobody, which
Uh-huh.
is like I don't actually know if that's the name of the album. It's got that song on it, Second to
Second
Nobody. I
to
love that
Nobody.
song.
A
Ghetto
Return of
Child.
the
It's called
Holy
Ghetto
One.
Child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, but yeah,
YZ
he's
is the
super important
man.
to the
I love
culture.
YZ.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because, like I said, we talked to him about managing us back in the early 90s, had lost touch. And then back, I can't even remember when it was, he had hit me up online. This is still some years ago because we've been connected since. And he was like, "Yo, what's going
Let's
on? This
connect.
is
Yeah,
YZ."
let's
And it's
work.
like, so he actually had reached out, and we've stayed connected since. We'll call and talk and build about different stuff. So got him on the track or whatever, and then got the track laced It's a cat named Dre King, who's a trumpet player out in DC, and me and his cousin actually worked together. And he was like, "Yo, you need to work with my cousin Dre, King. He's nice." And we'd follow each other and corresponded, but we had never linked.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Yo, got the perfect song. If we ever get together, this would be the time."
Yeah.
So linked with him on that, and then of course, coming up, when I started listening to hip hop, one of my biggest influences was Chuck D, Public Enemy, especially because he was dropping knowledge and just kind of using hip hop, like Dead Prez say, it's bigger than hip hop. And so he's always someone I looked up to. So I was like, you know what, man? Why don't I swing for the fences? Like, if we're gonna do it, let's do it. Like, if I could get Chuck D to close this whole thing out.
Let's get the Mount Rushmore on there.
And so it was like, yo. And so when that came together, it was like, it's some things are just meant to be. You know what I mean? It just came together so perfectly.
Yeah.
So I was real happy that people have been able to embrace it, listen to it, enjoy it. DJs have been loving it. The feedback we've been getting on the record has been nothing short of incredible. People, love the message, the movement, and obviously it's a dope song too.
Yeah.
Beyond all that. So it's a great way to have started out, to end last year, end the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and to start this year.
That's perfect.
Definitely that.
Yeah, it's been making noise. It's #1 on college radio. You're nominated for Song of the Year.
And so
WAMMIES,
and so the WAMMIES thing is kind of bittersweet because we made the initial nomination and then we didn't get the finalists.
Got it.
But it's kind of like, man, I'm on the record with Chuck D. You know what I mean? Like, I won already. You know what I mean?
Oh,
award or not, award or not. You know what I mean? And so we're not in the finals for the WAMMIES, but it's all good though. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing but love. Much respect to all the people that are finalists.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, I got Chuck D, YZ, and Chubb Rock collaborating with me. Who I think back when '88, when I was in Zimbabwe, thinking, I want to be a part of this hip hop movement that I see growing, because I've got a story I want to tell. And here I am on your show, rocking with the almighty Cristopolis, telling my story. So mission accomplished.
Absolutely,
or mission in progress.
Now,
mission in progress. We're
known
not done
for
yet.
putting together some dope videos, right? You've made some classic videos. I love Liberation Music. I love so many of the videos and visuals you've done. To do a visual with Chubb Rock, YZ, Chuck D, or some sort of concept where maybe people are in different locations or using some sort of animation, all the crazy AI stuff nowadays. Have you thought about a visual for what, is making so much noise, this really dope track you have out?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely exploring that. What will be really cool is if we can, manage all these folks' schedules and get to the same place and record it. Because that in itself will be super powerful. So we're trying to do that. And I think that ultimately has kind of been why we didn't do something in the interim. Because I'm like, ultimately, and I know sometimes it's like you got to make do with what you can. And so we might do some iterations to get there, like you said, with disparate locations and with animation, and to bridge the gap. But eventually, like we definitely need to come together on a stage and a platform and rock it. Because man, it'll definitely rock some heads when we do it. But yeah, definitely it's I think important and key. And I also think too, like the way we do music as independents, we kind of changed the paradigm where with like the majors and everybody, they're like, drop the single now, drop it now. Okay, it's hot. Next week people, it's like, nah. You rock to this all year long. You know what I mean? It's not just a flash in the pan. It's not 15 minutes of fame. It's like 5 years from now, go back and listen to it and it should still stand the test of time. But having said that, urgency of now, you know what I mean? We got to get something done. So, matter of fact, it's funny because when I talked to YZ, he's like, when we doing the video? And I was like, I'm working on it. He's like, we need to do that, man. He's like, I let somebody hear the song and they were like, yo, this is incredible. So like everybody is kind of feeling the vibe. So it's just a matter of making it happen.
Yeah, man. Now I'm excited for that. Now, I think a lot of people are curious about your story, right? You have a very unique story, coming up in Zimbabwe, coming over to the US, Zimbabwe Legit, classic album, and then your solo career. Can you take us a little bit on that journey of coming up in Zimbabwe, how you fell in love with hip hop, and then how you've actually been able to come over here, make classic hip hop anthems, and work with icons within the culture.
Yeah, nah, I'm glad you asked that. Because like they say, you like to hear the
Yeah,
story again and again of how
yeah,
it got started way back when, classic MC Shan line. And then the other classic line that as resonates in my head when I think of what we did is Biggie. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. So picture me, late 80s in Zimbabwe with my friends, in a landlocked country in central, the central part of Southern Africa, right above South Africa. But we don't have rap records in the stores. We have record stores or whatever, but they got Madonna, Michael Jackson, you name it,
yeah,
that kind of Whitney Houston, but and the radio stations, playing popular music,
yeah,
but not really hip hop at
yeah.
that
Hip hop
point.
was underground. Hip hop
Yeah,
was underground. Hip hop blew up later.
yeah. And so we're going through, but we're hearing about it. And the thing that struck for me, and I mentioned this in Life is What You Make It, is like the music that the hip hop music we heard really felt like ours, right? It was finally our generation speaking and talking about subjects we could relate to or we were interested in or we were captivated by. So it felt more real. But another thing that it did too is it gave us the opportunity to get into it, right? Like I never envisioned myself as like an R&B singer or whatever, or
Yeah,
as a rock, musician. But I saw myself as a hip hop artist because I saw myself in the music. I heard my voice in the music. I heard the voices of marginalized communities in the music. And so it felt right. And I was also Zimbabwe prior to independence in 1980 was a colony, went
yeah,
through independence struggle. There's issues of racism and
yeah,
apartheid and things like that that I had on top of mind that I thought this is a perfect vehicle to use to address those issues and talk about, my perspective and my unique perspective. So anyway, into hip hop, getting it at that point on import, right? So it's like somebody's cousin is in the UK, they send you a hip hop connection, a magazine, or what, Blues and Soul, I think was a magazine we get, Ebony magazine, I mentioned LL Cool J or something, and then got into the era of like the Word Up magazine and magazines like that. And then it all broke through with the Source
yeah,
magazine
yeah.
because there's a writer in there named Dave Klein who wrote an international hip hop column, and he'd call out to people to hit him up. And so we did exactly that by letter, you know what I mean? Like old pen and paper, stamp,
Yeah,
put in
not
the
an
envelope,
email,
letter.
not an email,
Yep, not an
like a stamp.
email, not a Zoom, not a WhatsApp message or whatever. And so through corresponding with him is what led to Zimbabwe Legit getting signed. So corresponding with
What?
him from
So you got
across the
signed through the
seas.
source, basically.
So he was leaving the source again, series of fortunate events, right? Coincidences. He was leaving the source to go start up a label in Cali, which he was interesting type name for the label, right? People say he's got a Hollywood complex, so he called his label Hollywood Basic, the opposite of
Yeah,
Hollywood complex,
yeah,
right? Because he's representing the real. So he was going out to start a label and said, like, if y'all come to the U.S., let's talk and let's see what we can do. So we refined and refined and refined demos, went in the studio, made even more elaborate stuff, met with him, and he was like, yo, this is dope. Let's set something up. He was working at Red Alert Productions, so working with Cool DJ Red Alert, Jungle Brothers, Queen Latifah, and doing like promotions and management and
yeah,
all of this stuff.
yeah.
And then he was going to start a label. First signing on his label, Organized Confusion. Pharaoh Monch, Prince Poe, if you're
Ooh.
familiar. So we were in good company. He also did a group called the Lifers that I think was nominated for a Grammy. And there's
Wow.
prisoners in Rahway in New Jersey that were rapping about don't be fronting like you a gangster. We are real
Yeah,
gangsters locked up
yeah,
for life in prison. So he was all about putting out real, authentic music. And so
yeah,
it resonated with him to put out, some African hip hoppers. And we happened to be like one of the first worldwide
yeah,
to drop back then. Put us together with Mr. Long from the Black Sheep. You can get with this, so you can get
yeah,
with that. Mr. Long from the Black Sheep produced our first record, a song called To Bead or Not to Bead, and then other producers came together for that record. So that's kind of how it all unfolded, man. Just
wow.
like pushing, hustling. You know what I mean? And it's not luck. You know how they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah,
And like you push, you reach out, you don't stop knocking. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's what we did. And it ultimately led to us dropping as Zimbabwe legit and representing and performing
Yeah.
across the U.S. They brought us to Japan, so we went on tour with Organized Confusion, and we're rocking in Tokyo. Performances, radio shows, as well as like live television. It was also a great learning experience, observing the masters, you know what I mean,
Absolutely.
killing it on stage, see how they do sound check, how they rock the crowd, and how
A
they do
young
all
Pharaoh
that,
Monch.
for sure. So, great times like that, man. And I'll tell you, I haven't even told, I don't think I've told this story on any other interviews I've done. There's so many, million stories, right? I remember being at the Organized Confusion, Who Stole My Last Piece of Chicken party at Sylvia's in Harlem. And
Wow.
we were at there, and to the right of me was Ali Shaheed Muhammad from A Tribe Called Quest. And to the left of me was Veronica Webb. And I don't know if y'all know, but you Google Veronica Webb, supermodel, back in the early 90s or whatever. So I'm just sitting there in awe, and of course Organized Confusion is there, people from the label are there, some folks I think from Tommy Boy and different other, or maybe Elektra. But anyway, just sitting here in awe. And I remember I was like, now what should I say? Should I talk to Ali Shaheed?
Yeah.
Or should I say something to Veronica Webb? Like, I'm just like mind blown.
Right,
So I'm
right.
like
Hard
an
to choose.
18-year-old kid. Like, how did I get here? That type of thing. But it was
That's
real positive.
amazing, man. So like I've seen you rock shows, and I've been around you for years, but I didn't know that background story. You know what I'm saying? I
Oh,
just thought you
okay.
were dope. I
Yeah.
didn't you dope MC dropping dope music.
Word
You know
up.
what I'm saying?
Likewise,
Which
man.
you
I've seen
are.
you rocking
You
and
know what I mean?
stuff. Yeah, yeah. And we'd be
But
on
that
shows
story
together.
is spectacular.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
crazy and it's wild. And the thing I always tell people, like I speak at schools, I speak at universities, I do workshops, and I always tell them, like, tell people your
yeah,
story. Like people have goals and visions, they don't want to share them. There's even that cliche where they say, like, "Oh, don't tell nobody your dreams because they'll try to sabotage you." And
yeah.
I don't believe that. I
Mm-hmm.
believe one, when you tell people what you're trying to do, it makes you accountable
Mm,
because then you're like, "Oh, I told Cristopolis I'm dropping a new album.
yeah,
Okay, it's November. I still ain't dropped that album I talked about in my interview in January. You know what I mean? Or in February, I need to step up. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So come March, April, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? People online think, heard that I'm dropping this album. What am I doing? I need to step it up. So I think there's that, but I also think you never know who's going to have
That's
a
right.
connect, who's going to be like, oh yeah, actually my cousin is doing this and this with this, company and he was looking for, or, oh, I'm actually working on this. And so I know somebody I can connect you
Yeah.
with. So I think it's important to build too,
Mm-hmm.
as hip hop, as a community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Collaboration. You don't necessarily have to do a song together just to
Yeah.
collaborate. Like we can collaborate just through, oh, I know a videographer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put you in touch with him. I think he would do some real good. Oh, I know someone who does album covers. Or, all right, there's people I know running a festival. And I'm giving all those examples, not random examples. Those are
Yeah.
actual, factual things that have happened in ways I've got connected
Yeah.
with things happening, and to keep my business moving, but also mutually beneficial
Absolutely.
arrangements with folks.
Yeah. And there's like a vinyl release of the Zimbabwe Legit album that like you just recently have repressed it on vinyl. Can you talk to us about how that album still, you've got all your
Oh,
new
yeah.
music, but that album was
Word
such a classic.
up. Word up. So I see Sari has just joined. Big shout out to her, another collaborator.
Mm.
Ran into and collaborated just by happenstance, coincidence, at a show at the Howard Theater, I believe it was.
Wow.
So real dope. But anyway, so with the Zimbabwe Legit, so we released the album with Hollywood Basic. That situation ended, Funk and Klein ended up passing away. He was the guy who
Wow.
signed us, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
And the label ended up
Yeah.
folding. And so we just kept on moving, keep the wheels turning. And then I think it was like 2014 maybe, we dropped an album called House of Stone. And that was one where I was like, Cool J says, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. That was
Yeah.
my don't call it a comeback album. So people were always like, what's up with Zimbabwe Legit? Do y'all still make music? And I'm like, for sure. They're like, well, we
Mhm.
haven't heard anything. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're all right. We need to put something new
Here,
out,
here it comes.
performing and everything. And so recruited a whole bunch of heavyweights for that project too. That was the first time I collabed with Chubb Rock too,
Wow.
and we did a song called "Wake 'Em Up." I also got Vast Air from uh, to hop on it with us. And I remember talking to Vast about it, and he was like, "Oh, what's the song about?" I was like, "It's called Wake 'Em Up." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Chubb Rock is on it, just casual." He's like, "Wait, did you say Chubb Rock?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, damn right, you know."
Wow.
So anyway, Chubb Rock, Prince Poe from Organized, Stickman from Dead Prez, YZ was on that joint too.
Wow.
So anyway, did that album and released it. I did a distribution deal with Redline Music out of Massachusetts, real
Yeah.
cool company. Shout out to Jameson. And then anyway, so that's been out, whatever was out, and is out on digital platforms as well. But then somebody hit me up from the UK recently, like in the last year or so, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Yo, I was listening to your stuff and the different things you're working on." He's like, "Tell me, did House of Stone ever come out on vinyl?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I wanted to, but the situation never worked out." So at that point, we had done CD and digital, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Would you be interested in doing it?" He's like, "Maybe do you have any unreleased like remixes or B
Right. Like
sides
make it a
that
deluxe. Make the vinyl
yeah
somewhat unique.
yeah, and as a collectible too for people." And so I was like, "Oh, I got some stuff. Let me hit you with a couple of
Let
his
me turn the
remix of the
computer
Where I'm
on.
At
We got
joint."
stuff in
You
there.
know, it's like, "Oh, I got a producer in France that actually remixed this other joint with the Jungle Brothers on it, Mike G from the Jungle Brothers on it. Oh, I got this other, plus we got all the instrumental versions and everything." So he was like, "Oh, cool." So he checked it out. He was like, "Yo, I'd love to put this out as a limited edition vinyl." So we did that label called Chopped Herring out of the UK. So we partnered with them to release the House of Stone EP. I believe they still have a couple copies probably available. Worst come to worst, if folks really really want one, I might have like one that I
Yeah.
can
Hit you
pull
in the
out,
DM.
for a couple dollars or something. But
Hmm.
yeah, Chopped Herring released that, so that was like real dope to do, and a way to again revitalize, reanimate the music. Some
Yeah.
people who hadn't heard it get to hear it. Some people who heard it but never had vinyl because that wasn't available get to get
Yeah.
it that way. So like all the way around.
That's so dope, man. That's so dope. And what's so interesting about your story, from Zimbabwe, from Africa, coming to the US, dropping incredible music, and then connecting with Next Level and actually doing like global hip hop diplomacy and traveling the world. Can you talk to us about, your work with Next Level?
Yeah. And I'll start that question with this. So, like you said, I think I'll say I came out of global hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, right? Internationally, hearing it, getting exposure to it, and then coming to the US. So I felt and have always felt kind of uniquely positioned because I'm in the US and the US based artist, but have roots in the international scene. And so I've always connected with other artists from the continent but also globally, from, be it Japan, be it Brazil,
Yeah.
be it Croatia, be it France, be it Russia, you name it. Um, and to have collaborated with artists, done, compilations featuring artists from multiple different countries, and then also working with grassroots organizations from all these different countries and different areas and working with people like that. And so when I heard about Next Level, it was like, wait, the US Department of State is putting together a program where they're sending musical ambassadors, specifically hip hop ambassadors, to countries around the globe to teach hip hop arts, DJing, producing, b-boying, breaking, and emceeing. I was like, oh man, perfect fit. It
Yeah.
sounds like something that's right up my alley. And so I was glad when I heard about the opportunity and applied, and had the opportunity and the blessing to go to Thailand and
Wow.
teach hip hop. Did like a month-long residency teaching emceeing and working with a DJ, with a producer, with a b-boy, to put together, workshops and do, shows, performing live in underserved areas, right? Like we didn't
Wow.
go to Bangkok because Bangkok gets everything, right? They
Yeah.
get all the big shows, but it's like, let's go out to some of the other areas, where people see and hear these things, but may not get to interact as much with them one-on-one. And so did that beautiful thing, and then continued even in the wake of that, working on next level type stuff. I was actually at the University of North Carolina 2 weeks ago for a week long celebration of the 10th year anniversary of Next Level.
Wow.
And they brought together MC from Senegal, beatboxer from New York, another MC from Detroit, and then a b-boy from Chile. and we all kind of did a miniature Next Level, talked to
Wow.
students, did workshops and performances out there. And then in the intervening years, like I said, I've been working on compilations. I did a compilation with the Ali Center out of Louisville
Okay.
around his 6 core principles. So we did a compilation and had MCs, from Australia, MCs from Brazil, MCs from here, there, and everywhere on this thing, each giving our interpretations of his core principles. And then I've worked on a couple compilations with an organization called Hip Hop Loves, called Stop Shooting. We talk about the scourge of gun violence
Yeah.
and police brutality globally, and we've done two versions of that, again involving MCs from across the globe.
Wow.
And I actually did a song that's pretty poignant called Unity. So I had my man Mode9 from Nigeria, had Fatima Rivera from Chile, had Maya Jupiter from Cali / Australia, and produced by Renee Soul out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we put together a song talking about how the music and the culture brings us all together. And then I did a video and recruited, it was actually just like a dance video.
Yeah.
Like we weren't rapping in it. I got dancers, break dancers and poppers from across, breakers and dancers from across the globe to video themselves rocking to the song Unity.
Wow.
And so it had like a girl in Uganda, a guy in France, somebody in Switzerland, all dancing to this video called Unity, and embracing and embodying the concept of people coming together for a common cause.
Amazing, man. That's awesome. And I'm sure the opportunities like that are going to continue to come your way. I saw that Words, Beats, and Life is doing stuff abroad now too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's like
sure.
this whole global hip hop performance space and collaboration between creatives. The internet facilitates everything, and you're so well positioned to capitalize on it. Because you kind of, I don't know if we could say you started it, but you're early. You're early in that global hip hop, crossing
sure.
borders, collaborating with people stateside, people abroad, So
Yeah,
that's so dope.
I've probably done songs with people from, like, I'm just gonna throw out a number. I'd have to go and do the actual count, like 30 plus countries, and that's like personally recording music with and performing with, as well as the compilations we had have people from probably like 50 countries or more. And a lot of it has just been like self-directed, grassroots, like without a budget. It's lovely when we do get sponsors and organizations that can, put the funding behind it so we can do it, get the equipment, get the spaces, get the partnerships and collaboration. And so there is some of that, back of mind, still working the channels to get that to happen. Like you said, with any of the organizations that are doing it and pursuing it, they know where to find me, hit me up.
Yeah.
Some known to me, some unknown to me right at this time. So there's that. And yeah, I definitely have done the work, you know what I mean? Like, have experience doing it. Because for me too, like the Dead Prez song it resonates a lot. It's bigger than hip hop, you know what I mean? I can't just be just rapping and releasing music. That's part of it. That can't be the whole, that's not the whole pie. Right? That's just a slice. There's the teaching, there's the education, there's the collaboration, there's the community building, there's the awareness, the fundraising, there's the, calls to action, there's the speaking truth to power and accountability, and there's a lot of different things with it. So yeah, for sure.
Really good. Yeah, and hip hop uniquely gives a voice to people that need it. You know what I mean? And it's uniquely positioned to do that. So that's really dope. Talk to us about because I don't know about this. I'm reading up on it too, so I want to hear about your work at George Washington University, what you're doing there, how that came about. That's incredible, and salute to you. Right? That's
Thank you,
so
man.
dope. And talk to us about that.
Yes. So funny thing, like I said, tell somebody your story. Worked on Next Level, connected with a real cool cat named Mark Katz, that headed up the Next Level program, and actually had an opportunity to go out to University of North Carolina and speak to some classes, not just music classes, but classes on culture, American culture, African American culture, history, as well as like music classes. I think like Rap Lab was one of the classes we spoke to. And just kind of interacting, and then talk to him about my background and experiences with Next Level, but also in general on global hip hop as part of that. And he was like, yeah, this is real cool. You do this well. I'll put you in touch with some people that I know. Put me in touch with a gentleman named Professor Kajikawa, who at the time was at Oregon University, but was moving to GW.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, Dumi knows a lot about hip hop and is a practitioner.
Yep.
Talk to him. So we talked, and Professor K, as I like to call him, Professor Kashikawa, was like, yeah, when I get to DC, why don't we talk and see what we can do? So he teaches a hip hop history class, real dope. And side note, I actually a little while ago connected him with DJ RBI, who's like a hip hop oracle, knows so much about hip hop.
Absolutely.
Obviously, a foundational member of the hip hop movement in DC.
Absolutely.
And he's a DJ, super dope DJ, So anyway, connected with him with RBI. RBI is actually his co-teacher of the hip hop history class. So anyway, before that, I had gone to the hip hop history class a couple semesters to talk about my background and experience. They have eras that they talk about and different, facets of hip hop. And so I brought my perspective to the class. And then as me and him were brainstorming on what else we could do and other things we could do and how we could grow it, we talked about starting a hip hop ensemble and what that would look like. And we knew there was a void within the music department because, there's ensembles for different other types of music, but people that rap generally just at university and I rap.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like a forum or a place to come together with other people that do that kind of thing, like within the formal structure of the university. You can do whatever you want, just in the dorms or on the corner. But it's like through the formal structure of the music department, and it makes sense to do it since it's a prominent art form. And so we got together, we brainstormed, and we're like, well, let's just start by starting. Like, let's start this ensemble. Let's bring people in. Let's, advertise, get the word out, let people know, students know that it's happening and see how it develops. So the first semester, we probably had like 10 members, and it was incredible because we were working on songs, we were freestyling, we were improvising, we were jamming, and taking techniques, from like jazz where you like trade fours and like da 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 da, and they go back and forth, and then do that vocally, and then just try a whole bunch of things, and also just kind of bring a breath of fresh air to this new type of expression that we were able to facilitate within the university. So it's real cool, popular, and everyone was like, "Will you do this again?" And we're like, "Yep." And so we've been growing ever since, and it's cool. We've probably got I'll say for this semester, I think we've got probably like 10 musicians.
Wow.
So we've got a bass player, guitar player, multiple bass players and guitar players, keyboard / piano player. We've got like 3 drummers. We've got 2 saxophone players. We have just like a whole bunch of musicians. And then we have like 7 or 8 MCs and vocalists that are a part of it. And it's just grown, and it's real fun. And the kids are, students are into it. Like they really have fun. 1, 2, because it's a release. Like it's a class, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a class, but it's like probably, for some of them, as they've self-described, like some of the most fun they have all week, right? Oh yeah, you have to go to rap class, and, rap and hang out and make music and stuff. And then also learn, through that experience, some real skills in terms of performance, controlling the crowd, collaborating, listening, working, as well as just, some confidence building, some projection, some good practices to do. How do you rock a stage? How do you make sure you hold the mic and check in? And what do you do if something's wrong with the sound? How do you keep the momentum of the show going? How do you build an arc of a show? So all those different techniques and things. So yeah, it's been really great, man. So adjunct professor of, I call myself the dean of the school of emceeing, even though we don't have an official school of emceeing. But if anyone has been in DC for a while, I remember I dropped probably like 98 the School of MCing compilation. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's another story. People can look that up. But anyway, Big Daddy Kane said that line in a rap back in the day. So I've always latched onto that School of
Yeah.
MCing for those who want to be in my school of train of thought. But anyway, a second thought. So anyway, adjunct professor teaching hip hop ensemble at GW, and
That's awesome.
it's been really great. It's fun, and again, whoever thought hip hop would take it this far?
Yeah.
Expanding the boundaries. Yeah, because there are
You
no
ever heard the
boundaries.
album Disposable Arts by Master Ace?
Oh my God, one of my
You're like the
favorite
real life
records to this
disposable arts
day.
now. You're a real life disposable arts. That's so dope, man. I commend you on it. What an incredible accomplishment. Does the ensemble ever get a chance to perform out?
We'll perform in and around on campus. We've been trying to do more like external facing
Yeah.
stuff lately, and then we'll go out like in sub group. Like if folks are doing stuff to get, they'll link up with somebody in the band and just go rock. And I'm always like, just when you get the opportunity, just go. Like, don't wait for the whole ensemble to come
Yeah.
together and
Yeah.
stuff. But we've been doing, we'll always do our culminating performance end of the semester. We try to do some pop-ups during the semester just so the word can get out. And those are good too, because other students will come out and be like, what is this? Hip hop ensemble. They're like, oh, that's a class here? Like, yeah. Like, can I sign up?
Yeah.
For sure. What do you do? Hit us with your resume. Like, come on
That's
through.
good.
That type of thing.
That's good. That's
So it's real cool.
yeah.
And
Nah.
another cool thing, I did want to just touch on this real quick. Another cool thing I did at GW. So they've got the, I guess you call it the pep band that rocks like at the basketball games and
Yeah.
everything that you'd see. And so they rehearse right before the ensemble. So every time I go in there, they'd be rocking, and you got like, I don't know, they got like 40 plus people
Yeah.
in the C Brass, right? Big up, shout out to C Brass. What up, y'all? Real cool peoples, real cool folks. I love those cats. And they'll be rocking, and they'll rock popular tunes too. So I'll be in there and they'll be
Yeah.
rocking Crazy in Love and whatever. And so I was like, I wonder if I could have C Brass take a song that I wrote and rock it live, and we
Yeah.
could perform together, like with this, and like put it together and see how that would work out. And then Mike, who's the director of the C Brass, was like, yeah, for sure. So he actually wrote out the music parts, because it's like flutes, it's like horns, it's like,
Yeah.
it's all these different
Yeah. That's like
instruments,
whole
the drum
other
sections.
level music.
Yeah, so he wrote out parts for all the different, instruments or whatever. So they got their sheet music and everything, and then we rehearsed and rehearsed, and then we rocked in the Smith Center live. I hit, like, ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention, to Upper Deck, you know. And so I rocked my song "Meet Me at the Top," like with the live brass, C brass, backing,
Wow.
and it was real hype, and just in my mind again, just continued to foster those opportunities and new ways we can break out, and make things
Wow.
happen.
That's so dope, man. That's so, and it's cool to use, those resources when you have these large ensembles and a variety of musicians. Hip hop uses all types of music, so it's
Yeah,
really cool to get creative with that. You
yeah,
have an innate ability, right? And anybody who watches you perform live on stage sees that you have the ease and a facility with which you communicate, engage the crowd. Is that natural? Is it 10,000 hours? Do you come from a family of entertainers? Tell us the backstory to how you got so good at rocking the mic.
see all of the above. So shout out to my pops. Like when he'd tell a story, when we were kids, like growing up, we'd be rolling because he was a natural born orator, speaker,
Wow.
um, and he was, a good public speaker and a communicator. So I think that came from him. In high school, both of us, myself and my brother Akim, did public speaking. It was funny when I got to high school. They're like, "Do you do public speaking like your brother?" Because it was like competitions.
Yeah.
They're like, no, 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 we need you to, or whatever. So that, I think, kind of is the foundation of being able to, like, okay, I need to talk to an audience, address them, and command them. In terms of like performing hip hop show live, because
Yeah.
obviously it's not public
Right.
speaking, right? It might be analogs, but it's not the same thing. You could be good at one and terrible at the
Yeah.
other. I think the 10,000 hours come into play. So talking about like going to Japan and like
Yeah.
watching, Pharaoh and Prince get down, doing a gazillion other shows all over the country and all over, the world, in fact, you kind of see what works, observing other greats do their thing. I'll never forget being at the 930 Club, and people from DC area know how the 930 Club,
Yeah.
a dope concert venue, great sound, and there's the floor, and then there's the wraparound balcony upstairs with a bar in the
Right.
back, but plenty of space. So there's not a bad seat in the house. And I remember being upstairs, the view of the whole place
Mhm.
and the view of the stage, and KRS-One was rocking, and he came out and like he set it off and started ripping, and then at some point he just had everybody bouncing in unison, and you're watching from above and just seeing everybody like uh, and it was just like that energy was
Yeah.
just like, and it's like, man, you seeing what it takes for somebody to do that and just understanding that connection with the crowd, like that fourth wall is broken, like
Wow.
he is a part of the crowd, but also other artists and stuff, and also seeing that it's not always the get hype and get crazy and you can also like lay back and draw them in to that fourth wall. So just seeing different techniques and then putting in the hours. I mean, since I've been in DC since the DC music scene and in the area since '97. So for the
Yeah.
folks keeping score at home, they like to be like, oh, who represents DMV hip hop? I'm not the type of cat who likes to get on a soapbox, but today I'm gonna get on my soapbox and say 1997 to 2024. 24 years from 2000 plus
Yeah.
27 years. So quarter of a century, your boy's been rocking
Wow.
in the DMV area on stages. Because once I got here, immediately, like
Yeah.
it's not like I started rapping when I got here. I was like, where do I go to
Right.
do what I do?
You were
So from
on
going
U
to like
Street before
Bar
it was
None,
gentrified. You were on U
for
Street
sure.
when it was still Black Broadway.
Yeah, I was on U Street when there was Club Bintumani, when there was Capital City Records. And not to say I'm the
Right.
oldest person that's
Right.
rocked U Street, but I've been there and have been rocking for a while. And the thing reason I bring up Bar None, because there's a Monday night open mic called The Movement. And we'd all clamor to get there so we could sign up on the list. And it was a band that would play, and then you'd get to rock your piece, right?
Yeah.
And it's a piece. It's not a set unless you're the feature. I got happened to feature there before, but if unless you're the feature, like you're rocking a joint, so you got to come with your strongest joint.
Yeah.
You're rocking with a band, so it's not like you've got your pre-planned music, so you got to be flexible and fluid. And then it's also people in the crowd that know you, some people that
Yeah.
don't know you,
Yeah.
maybe mostly people that don't know you. So you've got to do something that's compelling and engaging, and you got to work with the crowd. So going to spots like that and rocking, and then doing shows at like places like
Yeah.
U-Turn,
Yeah.
not there anymore. Bohemian Caverns, not there anymore.
Yeah.
State of the all this stuff, places that are not there. Club Erico, not there anymore.
Legendary
Going to all
spots.
these going to all these places and rocking, and seeing how the crowd responds, messing up, you know what I mean? People say, oh, if the opposite of failure is success, as I heard somebody say online. It's not the opposite of success, it's a part of
Ooh.
success, because when you fail, you're like, oh, how do I do that differently
Yeah.
next time so that I'm gonna hit? Oh, you know what, I came out real slow and the crowd was kind of rowdy and it just
Right.
never caught on from there,
Right.
so I need to
Set
come in
set
strong.
list arrangement. Right.
Yeah, stuff, and also thinking about, oh, if something goes wrong, I'm not just gonna keep going and like, we can't hear you. I was like, hold up, stop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, take control, be master of your own destiny. So anyway, all that experience, practice, learning, trial and error, rocking at the Black Cat,
Mm.
both upstairs and downstairs. Um, trying to get on Velvet Lounge, rocking there, setting up my own shows there, being as part of other people's showcases. So just doing stuff in and around the city, to ending up to rocking at the Kennedy Center multiple
Wow.
times. The last time we rocked a year ago, probably literally like it was like February 2023, the joint sold out, you know what I
Wow.
mean? And to get to that point takes all that practice, perseverance, you know, having doors shut you know what I mean, to rocking at the African American History
Yeah.
Museum over the summer last year for the 50th anniversary block party. Um, Stuff like that, man. Just the experience of
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah.
and learning and being willing to like kind of figure out what you can do that works
Yeah.
and what doesn't work, you know, as opposed to just keep doing the same thing and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So now it's real cool just staying on it, man,
Yeah.
and just keeping rocking and also defining success in my way. You know what I mean? 'Cause some people, oh, how many streams you got? How many followers you got?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can kill yourself all day chasing after, like, oh, I need to, but it's like, do I do what I do
Mm,
well? Are there
mm,
avenues for what I do that I can continue to
right.
pursue that make it worthwhile? You know what I mean? I get invited to speak at universities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not showing up in somebody's metric count on some
Yeah.
dashboard, but I know that's sustainable for me and provides doors and opportunities.
Yeah.
Like I said, ended up at GW through doing
Yeah.
the hip hop diplomacy work and then continuing to do that work. And so it's like a virtuous cycle
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
positive things that I do feed back on each other and allow me to continue doing the work.
Yeah. Help you continue to do your artistry and to open up even more doors and all over the world, because that's how hip hop is now. You can be given a class in
Yeah.
Thailand, you could be in London, you could be in South America. So that's really dope for people who want to contact you, right? So we're hearing about, I know you were just performing at Virginia Tech. We talked about the Kennedy Center performances, all the performances you've done in DC and around the world. If people want to contact you to collaborate with you, to hire you for a gig, what's kind of like, where do you live? What are the best places where you
Right.
always check in and to connect with you?
Yeah. So the best place, I'm glad I finally have it, www.dumiright.com. So you can go to,
Woo!
and note it's Dumiright, because people put in W there sometimes, and sometimes people put Dumiright.com. It's a central hub for everything. I'm big on IG because it's a good platform that allows
Yeah.
you to share media, and that's kind of where people are, right? I feel like that's like our watering hole, gathering
Yeah.
spot, water cooler. So a lot of people are IG, and you can see what I've done in the past as well.
Mm.
Clips of reels and videos. So on IG, I'm DUMIRIGHT, Do Me Right on Instagram. And the thing about it too is everywhere, every platform. So if you're like, oh, I wonder if he's on Facebook, Do Me Right,
That's
or Do Me
right.
Right Music. I wonder if he's on YouTube, Do Me
Do me
Right
right.
Music. So it's the jumping off point for DUMIRIGHT. That's where people can find me and reach out to me. I try to be super responsive too, because I've hit up people too, and like I appreciate it when I know everybody's busy, but somebody that's, who you'd consider to be like a luminary or legend or like, a well-known artist like responds and interacts, even if it's just to be like, hey, what up? Yo, mad busy, but thanks for reaching out, or hey, check this out, here's what I'm doing, or hey, I looked at what you were doing. So I like to do that as well and continue to reach out and collaborate with folks. So yeah, that's where they can find me. Definitely look me up. And then I should have mentioned this first. Like I need to prioritize the rankings of this. I guess the website is first, which does have a entryway to this, but Bandcamp. So you can go to phmusic.bandcamp.com or dumiright.bandcamp.com, because then you can purchase the music. And so
Yeah.
if I get 1 million streams, that's like $3,000, which is high bar. So if you do the math, like 1,000 streams, like if you're not going to stream the album 10,000 times, if you just cop the
Right.
record,
I just buy the
we
record.
can cut to the chase, right? We can
Yeah.
bypass it. And I also heard, and I'm not even gonna get into this, but I heard the streaming out model of payment is gonna change
Yeah.
based on tiers. So it may not even be that 3,000,
Yeah.
$300 for whatever 10,000 streams or whatever the math was. 100,000 streams, $300. So it may be less than that. So anyway, saying that to say, dumiright.bandcamp.com, cop the music,
Right.
pick it up, pick it up,
Grab
pick it
grab a
up.
a
it
digital
helps to
album, grab a
support.
vinyl, grab a
Yep.
CD.
We have t-shirts. I print t-shirts a lot of times on demand.
Mm.
So like I've got Dumi Right with the logo t-shirts, have Zimbabwe legit t-shirts. People can go on there and cop them, and it's all limited edition. Like I said, we'll print them on demand. We'll change colorways, and stop printing a colorway after a while, so people can get all that
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. The Grammys are conducted, they're created by the Recording Academy. You are now a member of the Recording Academy. Talk to us about, how that came about and what it means to you.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I was affiliated with the Recording Academy like some years back, and kind of going through that whole, it's what exactly does this mean, and how important is it to be a part of it? Should I not? Should I? You've heard the debates and all of that stuff, but I always feel like in order to have a voice at the table, you need to be in the room where they're serving
Yeah,
dinner. And so me standing outside and throwing rocks is really not affecting anything for the people in the room. So it's like I want to be in the room where it happens.
yeah,
Big shout out to the DC chapter of the Recording Academy because I feel like they've got a lot of artists, activists, and folks that I've built with for years that
yeah.
are members and in senior leadership even. Shout out to Tamara Wellens, Madam President. But yeah, so I was, thinking of that philosophy. I was like, yeah, I should make sure I'm back as a member and part of that, as well as the fact that I know some folks that I was collaborating with that are involved with it. So, not a commonly known fact, but I think it's on a bio somewhere. 2 years ago, I was featured writer on an album, Buenos Dias by the Lucky Jam Family Band that won a Latin Grammy. I was on a
Whoa.
song called Mix It Up. Um, and so that also kind of sparked the like, hey, you know what? I need to be in the
Yeah,
realm or whatever. So I submitted my application to be a member and have been accepted into the Recording Academy, and then also collaborated and connected with people through that
yeah,
sphere. Because it's not just around the awards. It's also just around connecting with other
yeah.
artists that are doing things and finding out what they're doing. And they also do a lot around advocacy. So I was a part of the advocacy day
Mm-hmm.
that they had where they'll talk to members of Congress and the people making the lawmakers, essentially, that are making laws that are going to affect copyright and, things that
Streaming
impact musicians.
percentages.
Exactly, Um, and different things that are under debate, what's happening with AI
Mm-hmm.
and who knows, where things are going to go in the future. I mean, back when we were doing tapes, nobody could have thought, oh, digital streaming, and it'll be like this and that. And so making sure, a good thing about advocacy days, they get people who are artists that are impacted by the
Yeah,
laws and the changes in the laws or new laws that need to be made to speak to the representatives. So it's like a real perspective. It's not just like, oh yeah, this is gonna hurt artists or this is gonna help artists. It's like, here's an artist, let him tell you. And so I was glad being a part of the Recording Academy. That's like one of the great things I got to do as part of that. Last year is like work on Advocacy Day and speak to my local representative in the place that I live about these issues that affect me, not just as a constituent, but as a musician.
yes,
And
yeah.
so that's why I think it's important for us to be part of these organizations, right? Because otherwise we don't have a say, and then we'll get
That's right.
mad when the law gets written and be like, oh, they didn't even consider this. Well,
You need
you
to be
should
at the
have said
table.
something.
Yeah,
You should have said something.
that's dope, man. Yeah, it's it's so much valuable information and knowledge, so many accomplishments that you have, under your belt. As we start to wrap up, I wanted to highlight, we've talked about right now how you're a member of the Recording Academy that's responsible for the Grammys. We talked about all of your performances, Kennedy Center, how you've performed all over DC and the world. We talked about Thailand, global hip hop, diplomacy through next level. We talked about being an adjunct professor at George Washington University with the hip hop ensemble. We talked about your incredible career, and I wanted to finish it off with something fun and super dope that I think that you do, which is your traffic jam bars. right? So like, in addition to dropping classic records with legends like Chuck D and Chubb Rock and YZ, right? On top of that, you take a little bit of time for the Traffic Jam bars. You know what I'm saying? Talk to us about how that came together. Salute the bad seed.
Traffic Traffic Jam bars was just like you know, taking the time. A lot of songs, actually, it's funny. A lot of songs that I made, the inception is in the car. Like, I'm rocking to a beat, and I'm vibing. Perfect example is the song Where I'm At. I mean, the title speaks for itself, but where I was at when I created that song was on I-95 in traffic, and the beat that my man had cooked up was playing, and I was just like vibing and like, what does this say? And I was like, where I'm at, where I'm going, where I'm coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and the things in my life. And I was like, oh yeah, but never really had captured any of those moments. You know what I mean? That was just between me and the people driving by, like, yo, that dude is crazy. Like nobody has seen it, and so want to keep traffic safety to a maximum. So the phone got to be mounted. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Got to be rocking hands free. But it was a cool way to, commuting. If anyone's from the DMV, DC area, it's a lot of traffic. So you
DC got
might be
some
sitting,
traffic. DC got some
you might
traffic.
be sitting, you might be sitting in the car like, yo. And so I was like, you know what? It's time to spit these bars, kick these rhymes in the car. And people on the radio, it's always traffic jam roll call. Where you at? Where you calling from?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, traffic jam. Let's let them know something. And so I'd use it to either highlight a verse I'd written, existing or new, or something unheard of, unreleased, or a freestyle or something, or a concept that I'm trying to come across. And people were like, yo, when's the next trip? Oh, you need to do it. So at first it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to do a traffic jam. And people were like, yo, traffic jam bars. And people would text me and be like, what up, Mr. Traffic Jam bars? So I was like, yo, we
Dope.
need to keep this going. So I'd be like, yo, I need to do a Halloween traffic jam bars. I
Yeah.
need to, speak on the impeachment traffic jam bars, like, and do them up. And so I've been slacking a little bit. The setup in the vehicle I'm in now isn't as convenient with the
Yeah.
camera, so I'm kind of slacking. But I need to get back to it because people be checking, and it's when I look back too, it's like a chronicle because I'll be like, oh, I
Yeah,
remember the
because it
first one. It's like
captured
real
moments in
simple.
time.
Yeah. Then I'll look at what I was wearing too, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I wore that again. Like
Yeah,
it's
you
hilarious. But the
gotta have the
thing
fresh
about it was
outfit.
cool. It was like an instantaneous, like spontaneous moment captured, talking about something that's relevant to something or that I wanted to get off my mind. And just also another way for people to hear, you know what I mean? You don't have to go listen to the whole album to hear it's just something like, oh, check this out.
Yeah.
Boom, hit you, and then we're gone.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's
that's real
dope.
fun too.
That's dope, my man. Number one record on college radio, Life is What You Make It, Dumi Right, featuring Chuck D, Chubb Rock, YZ, a Mount Rushmore of hip hop, an incredible music career, an incredible performer, taking hip hop not only all over the world, but to universities with his adjunct professor position at George Washington University. My brother, I'm so proud of you, and it's been an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you, man. And I gotta say too, man, I gotta give you props. One, because you dope artist and everything,
Thank
and
you.
love what you're doing, with the show and like I said, the high caliber of people. But your preparation is impeccable, bro.
Thank you.
Because I was gonna send you some stuff, and then I started seeing the posts you were making, and you were chronicling all the stuff I was gonna send. I was like, well, let me send him the. Oh, he just sent a post of you already had that, and I was like, let me send him about the sync. Oh, he already had that. So I know you do your research, and it's important because I feel like, in some ways, in this mass media, anybody can go on and blog. Like everybody's a journalist, but people don't always put in the work
Yeah.
or the dedication or the research. And so, we've all been there where you talk to somebody and they ask a question and you're like, nah, I don't do that. That wasn't me. But you definitely come
Thank you.
prepared. And I mean, I've watched other stuff you do, so I'm always like, yeah. And that helps not only the artists, but the listeners, because then they get exposed to what's happening, you know what I mean? For real, for real. And so, yeah, that's always good.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's been an honor to have you on the show. I know that if I come back 5 years from now, you're gonna have like this much more on your resume. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't stop, and you shouldn't have stopped because you're a tremendous talent. So
Appreciate it, man.
see you next time I'm in DC.
All right. Sounds good, man. Appreciate it, Cristopolis.
Peace, my brother.
Shout out to everybody out there. Much love.
Much love.
Peace.